party people. Welcome to Honda Battle of the Bands presents Driving the Legacy of HBCUs. It's your girl, Loni Love. I'll be your host as we take this journey together. Now, this all-new docuseries celebrates and honors historically Black colleges and universities and their students and lead into what we know will be a spectacular Honda Battle of the Bands in 2023. There's no better time to kick off this series than Black History Month. Now, let me tell you, I'm a very proud graduate of an HBCU. Oh, I had some good times in the 80s. Attending an HBCU was one of the best decisions I've ever made. When some people think of HBCUs, what comes to mind is our show-stopping marching bands and big homecoming celebrations. Now for others, it's our challenging academic competitions or our Greek step shows. Shout out to my girls, Delta Sigma Theta, and the whole Panhellenic Council. But HBCUs offer so much more. I would not be the woman I am today if it were not for the founders and the people who paved the way for all of the HBCUs. So let's take a little time to honor them now and remember why we call our HBCUs a home away from home. Historically Black colleges and universities are a driving force behind Black America. HBCUs are responsible for developing the character and careers of some of the greatest leaders, trailblazers, and innovators in the world. An opportunity created by the hands of former Black enslaved people who envisioned future generations of Blacks succeeding in society.
At the beginning, when we were founded, we didn't even have presidents, we had principals. And they were doing their best to take these people who were just out of slavery, who were living in poverty, to transform them into the people who would train us. They created universities that they built by hand because they understood that just a few years before, it was illegal for them to read and write. And to be caught reading and writing was to receive violent punishment, sometimes unto death. And they understood that if this was something worth killing them for, it was something worth having. So we have two things that our students know about us that have become really important traditions. They know that this is a former plantation. They understand that people who look like them were enslaved here. And so they are very respectful of the fact that people who look like them were once degraded on these grounds. And so they have a strong responsibility to ensure that no more generations of people who look like them will be degraded anywhere else in the nation.
The privilege that we have to sit on a former slave plantation and this building that we're sitting in, we use that to really help build our character. So FAMU started on October the 3rd, 1887, as the normal college for colored students. We started with a legislative effort by Thomas Gibbs. It started with 2 professors and 15 students. I like to say got it right from the start, both men and women had the opportunity to be educated at this institution throughout our entire history. I think those slaves who worked here on this plantation would be extremely proud of us today.
Before the turn of the 19th century, more HBCUs emerged as predominantly white colleges and universities banned admissions to Black Americans. Just like many other HBCUs, North Carolina A&T provided refuge from discrimination and safe communities for Blacks to thrive in academically.
Our very act of being a university and educating African American students was incredibly transgressive at that point, particularly in the southeastern United States. And then in 1960, the action and the activism of the A&T 4. Midway through their freshman year, these 4 teenagers who decided that they had had enough of being refused service around the city of Greensboro. They got up on February 1st and that afternoon marched downtown to the local Woolworths, went in and bought a few sundries, and then seated themselves at the lunch counter and asked to be served. It was a very simple act of civil disobedience, but it was a potent one. Within 5 months, that Woolworth had changed its policy, as had many other lunch counters throughout the nation.
HBCUs and the civil rights leaders they produce have helped change the course of our nation's history. At the same time, the fight for equal rights energized Black colleges and universities, inspiring students to persevere, to dream, and to achieve.
I can't tell you how I feel blessed to be the president of this institution. I'm really pleased that for the third year in a row, U.S. News and World Report has ranked FAMU as the highest ranked public HBCU in the nation. It's something we're really proud of. I tell our students, you walk out on that campus, you might be running into the next John Thompson or Will Packard because they are going to be the next generation of leaders and game changers.
One of the things you hear most often around here is Aggie Pride, except it's typically pronounced Aggie Pride. Trust me when I tell you that the Aggie Pride is real, and the HBCU strength is unlike anything I've ever experienced. We managed to make an incredible success out of this place that now is perhaps the single largest contributor in the United States to African Americans in STEM careers. It will be interesting to see others continue to rise up as we are in bigger numbers than ever, with more ambitious programs than ever, big partnerships with corporations, and we love seeing people from Honda come here to recruit. They always walk away satisfied.
The future of HBCUs is yet to be written, but we know they will continue to hold a special place in the hearts of Black people.
I think Prairie View feels like home in a lot of ways. Many of these kids come from segregated schools, and they come from spaces where people might have counted them out. And then when they get here, it is our job to convince these kids that they could do absolutely anything they want to do. And who wouldn't love a place like that, right? There are very few places in American life where you can stand literally under the trees where people were once beaten and were once forced to work and see the children of those same people be educated and turned into world leaders. If anybody wants to understand the potential promise of America, then they need to come and stand on campuses like this, because it is the full trajectory of the possibility of America. We will be the Prairie View of our lineage. That is, we will honor the people who came before us.
Yes! Now that's why, for myself and so many students, alumni, faculty, and staff, HBCUs are right here. I hope this glimpse into our past inspires your respect, love, and support for Black colleges and universities and their powerful future. Please share your HBCU reflections, pride, and shout-outs on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter using the hashtag HBOB. And please join us in May for the next stop on our journey together. This is where we're going to explore the bands, the very heart of HBCUs. Right here on Honda Battle of the Bands presents Driving the Legacy of HBCUs. I'll see you then.